Okay, Shop Dog's bored now. I'm going to just do a short one-off fish truck video. And you'll notice it's the old fish truck, which is starting to fill up with parts. And of course that seatbelt bolt is stripped, so that's going to be fun to deal with. They're not fun to get out under ideal conditions, but I really would like to keep this seatbelt. This one's pretty nice. Starting to be less and less in here to strip. So, and of course you can just open a door by pushing that button right there, if you use a long finger. So I don't even have to put a handle back in. Shop Dog's like, how come we're not getting in the truck and going somewhere? Well, because this truck's not going anywhere anymore. One, remember, can't drive. Nothing holding that hub together. But two, no steering gear. That's out. When the fish truck was aligned yesterday and actually went for a long drive, the alignment shop pointed out that the steering gear was definitely a bit worn, and that if I had access to another one, I might as well throw it in there. And I'm not an idiot. I take a paid man's advice, so I will go ahead and swap that. I mean, I have it, and it didn't leak. It worked fine. So, and it's not, it's not really that hard. So we'll do that. We'll swap that, and we'll put the new pitman arm on it. Even though that pitman arm's only like 7 years old, but whatever. The other one's newer. And I've just been pulling things out of this truck. And see, the radiator was in really good shape. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's way over on the other side of the black car there. So we're going to keep that as a spare, because these plastic tanks, they don't last forever. Where the metal and the plastic are crimped, that's usually where they fail, in my experience anyway. So we're going to hang on to that. Obviously, this whole engine's coming out in one block. The other thing is, depending on the timing of all of this, I may just go ahead and swap the motors this year and just circumvent it and not even worry about it. That's a timing thing. We'll see. I've got plenty of things to do. So the air conditioning system in this truck was toast, so I didn't care that was open. It's been open to atmosphere for 8 years, so no big difference. And this compressor was already junk. Nothing you can do about it. It's been open to atmosphere on one of the many leaks. So wasn't worrying about that. Obviously not going to try to save the dryer, not going to save the barrier hoses, not going to save the manifold for it, nothing. It's all been exposed to atmosphere. It's all readily available. So we'll deal with that. I've already pulled the cruise control module, which has actually already been spoken for. So that's already pulled. Pulling simple things, windshield wiper arms and things like that. So it's not rocket surgery here. Got pretty much all the fluids drained. I even drained the tranny most of the way through the dipstick. So I hate cleaning it, but I did bust out the Mighty Vac. So in fact, that's power steering fluid right there. So I've been, and you just let it gently drain back in, and then you can pump it out into a container. So I've got containers over in our little hazmat section here. So in fact, we're getting closer and closer to having to run to drop some of this off. And you can see there's a bunch of oil and coolant. So, and you can mix your oils, it doesn't matter. Power steering fluid and tranny fluid and engine oil, they can all be recycled the same. So no big deal there. This battery will get recycled. It's bad. That's the one that came in the other fish truck. It's almost 7 years old. So we don't need that. And then originally I had considered saving this harness, but then as I'm pulling it apart, I'm remembering from the last time this thing was apart that the harness was already sketchy and has a bunch of repairs. So instead what I'm doing is saving perfectly good pigtails for repairing another harness if possible, because I don't have everything to build Metro packs. So, and it's just not worth investing in, because you only get the one side because the connector is the other side. So I'm not going to monkey with that, but I am going to harvest pigtails for service repairs. In fact, you can see I've already done that up here on the headlights. And I know I don't have to pull the grill, but every little bit that's out of the way, I'm an old fat guy now, and I don't like leaning over stuff if I don't have to. So got that out of the way, which did make pulling the radiator ever so slightly easier. Clutch fan on this was only 5, maybe 6 years old, so got her sitting over. Also, for some reason, the other fish truck didn't have its headrests, so I snagged those and put those away. So I've got those. And those are brand new because there's a reason they weren't there. You never put them back on the seats after you fold them once. But I'd like to have them. Like I said, this engine runs great. There's nothing wrong with this engine. It's very low miles. When it had spun a bearing, and unfortunately one of my daughters was driving it when it happened, and she was a ways off, but it spun a bearing, so we wound up going down getting a crank. It's 20 over, factory build, similar cam. I did change the cam, but it's not any more aggressive than the original. For what this truck is, it's not a powerhouse. It didn't need to be. In fact, I have a couple of these blocks. These are actually great blocks, but like there's one right there in that plastic bag, and there should be another one under here somewhere. I think back under there is another one. The beauty of these is, you know, 350 is a 350, and as long as you don't care about a fuel pump boss, these are already set up for a roller cam, which could save you quite a bit of money. With modern oils, wiping out a flat tappet cam is becoming actually a little more common than you would think. In fact, when this engine was built the first time for the previous owner, when I built the engine, we actually wiped a cam on the dyno. So it does happen. And that was on a dyno with braking oil, everything, and not aggressive at all. I mean, we're not talking a rocket ship here. So we're just pulling it all down. The engine in the other fish truck, now that I've driven it a bit, does have a bit of... Oh, let me pause for a second. Oh, sorry about that. People just walk in the shop all willy-nilly. We're going to have to get a doorbell. Teasing my wife. So, yeah, the other truck, after finally driving it yesterday, which I hadn't actually done since I bought it, it wanders a little bit. We've got that steering gear, and it still has a slight fish bite miss, and it does burn that little bit of oil. So, pretty good running motor right there. So, and it's not even that much work. It's just messy. Okay, that's all I'm going to do on this. I'm not going to edit it. There won't be a header or a footer. This is just a one take. So I'll just load this up so people can see that, yes, I am actually still working on the fish truck. I am, you know, pulling everything worth pulling. And yes, there's a real reason why this chassis is going to the junkyard. The rust is really, really bad. Not only did I have to cut the one on this end when I was monkeying with that, because there was no way I was fighting those bolts, but earlier I noticed that one had already rusted through on its own anyway. So, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, the rust is just, it's terrible, you know. And this is Minnesota. This is what happens in the Rust Belt. There's not a lot you can do about it. Undercoatings don't save any parts. They fail eventually too. In fact, some of them may actually make it worse, but you know, there's a lot of arguments about that. So, yeah, and remembering all of this was replaced 10 years ago, and it's already all junk. So, all right, that is today's fish truck video.